Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. A live look now over downtown Detroit. We're going to revisit a conversation we had last week. Housing costs continue to be a big challenge for families, and if you're trying to build a home, those costs can be even higher. Metro Detroit households spend over $22,000 a year on housing. That's more than 30% of their budget. Home prices have skyrocketed, now running about 6 times the average income, up from 2 to 3 times just a year ago. A big reason? A shortage of homes made worse by rules that make building harder. Building a home can cost a family on average up to $475,000, and honestly, that's on the low end right now. Now, last week we told you about a bipartisan group of lawmakers introducing legislation that they say will make it easier and more affordable to build homes, including allowing duplexes, cutting parking requirements, and speeding up approvals. Part of that, though, could take away some power or authority from local municipalities. We've been hearing from a lot of those local municipalities that are not happy with these bills. You're going to hear their side in just a moment. But first, here's State Representative Joe Aragona, one of the lawmakers behind the bill, with their argument for these new bills.
The goal is to put more housing on the market. As you stated, the housing prices are going up, they're skyrocketing. From 2023 to 2024, the average median home price went up about $75,000.
Wow.
Nick, how is a new person supposed to get into a house? How is a new-time home buyer supposed to get into a new house? Yep. So this is aimed at putting more housing stock on the market of whatever size, right? A lot of builders are building these huge homes now,
right,
or these huge apartment complexes. Our goal is, what about the people who want a smaller house,
right,
and people who can afford that smaller house?
So how do you do that then? How do you legislate smaller homes?
Sure. So a few things that we did. We're allowing duplex by right. That's one of the bills that we have. So for instance, if you and I want to go out and have a complex, a building, we're going to build a bunch of homes on 50 lots, right? Well, what if we say there's about 25 of those lots that are pretty big and they can handle a duplex? Well, now we just doubled the amount on just those 25 lots.
And
so now we have
law
75
doesn't allow that?
Correct. Yeah. Well, locals can zone that out or say, well, we don't want duplexes, but you know, why don't we leave that up to the free market, right? So that's what we're really aiming to do.
Gotcha. Okay, so I've got bullet lists of some things here to
Sure,
try to go through the list. Capping mandatory parking requirements. What is that, and how would that help?
Yeah. So if you want to build an apartment complex, why should you be mandated to have 2 or 3 spots per housing unit in that apartment complex?
If only one person's living there.
Correct. So what if it's a walkable area? You don't really need that much parking, right? Or if you want to try and design more of a walkable area, you don't need that much parking. So we're putting the cap at how much you can mandate for parking at 1 spot per unit.
Okay. Setbacks, 15 feet from the front, 5 feet from the rear. How does that help?
Yeah, so it allows for more housing density. Let's put more housing in an area. If you want a development where you're going to have houses a little closer together, you know, you shouldn't be able, no one should be able to tell you, well, you have to be 100 feet, 150 feet off the road. That's a lot of land that if you're a developer and you think you can put more housing there, it's probably going to be a little bit more affordable for that first-time home buyer or for a renter.
Okay. Another bullet point out of some of these articles was capping the minimum dwelling size at 500 square feet.
Sure.
Or the lot requirements at 1,500.
Sure. So 500 for...
I feel like this is a pop quiz for you.
I feel like that too. I haven't been in high school for a couple of years, Nick. Jeez. But you know, I'm still in the first home that I bought about 10 years ago. It's a little under 1,200 square foot, right? You don't really see that being built anymore. In fact, there's some mandates in some municipalities that say, well, you got to do 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. Well, do we really need to mandate those larger homes? Maybe it's okay to have those first starter homes that you see in Clinton Township and St. Clair Shores and Roseville, right?
So a lot of the issues here, it sounds like, are local ordinances or zoning restrictions. These are not necessarily state laws, but you're looking to, I don't want to say supersede because it has a bad connotation, but kind of force the locals to say maybe you should take another look at this?
Yeah, we want them to take a look at exactly how restrictive they're being, right? So this really stemmed out of sitting down with a lot of developers and saying, look, in 2005, you put about 54,000 housing units on the market. 2 years ago, you put about 15,000. What gives? Because we clearly have a lack of supply. I mean, every statistic you look at, we have a lack of supply. And a lot of what they were saying was, let's cut through this red tape. Let's stop inhibiting us from building what we think we can build and what we think we can make money on. So this is really what that's aimed at.
Are you getting any pushback from the local municipalities saying, let us mandate our own areas, you stay out of this, Lansing?
Yeah, there's some. There's also some that are taking a hard look at it and actually like a lot of the things we've done. There's actually cities who have actually already implemented some of these things.
Okay.
So we're trying to work through those types of things with them and see where maybe there can be some consensus.
All right, speaking of pushback, since the interview with State Representative Aragona, several local leaders have reached out wanting to share their side on the local level. So right now we have the Canton Township Supervisor. We've got Anne Marie Graham-Hudak. Chris Barnett is the Township Supervisor of Orion Township. Frank Viviano from Macomb Township. Just happens to be all three townships, but this affects everybody. The question I asked the state representative there about local control and maintaining it. Frank, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
I think you all seem frustrated by this. Is that fair?
Oh, very fair. Yep, very frustrated.
Why?
Well, this package of bills takes the decision making out of the hand, not just out of the hands of the locals, governments, but out of the people that have elected us. It doesn't shift it to Lansing. It shifts it to private developers and private builders. It just sets up a whole series of problems, not the least of which is putting profit-driven decisions ahead of people's quality of life.
I see. So, Chris, question for you then. Looking through that bullet list of setbacks and parking requirements, is there anything that you agree with or you do want to have a conversation about?
That is a great question. We are happy to have conversations, and I'm sitting next to two colleagues we're representing both sides of the political aisle, and I will just say bluntly, we're mad as hell. We have not been talked to about this. The question for residents and people watching is, do you want people making decisions in your community that live and work there, or do you want people that have never visited your community, that have never sat through a public hearing, that have never heard about your infrastructure issues making those decisions for you? And we're tired of it. So Anne Marie and Canton and Frank and Macomb and myself and Orion represent three growing communities. We are not anti-housing. We are pro-housing. We are pro-development. We are pro-growth. But we are tired of mandates from Lansing, a one-size-fits-all solution that frankly doesn't fit all. So we're asking for input. We're asking for the political gamesmanship to stop, and that's truly what this is. I've been in this role for 13 years, and I've never seen an issue steal and bring people together like this issue has. We have over 1,200 local elected officials that have signed our petition in one day.
1,200,
Over 1,200. And we have asked, Frank and I met with Rep. Aragona on Friday after he was here. And we asked him to name one local elected official that supports this package of bills or has been involved in this process, and we have not heard one. Not one local elected official. We have 1,200 that signed a petition in one day, and about 100 that are going to be gathering here in Detroit in another hour or so.
Right, you've got a press conference at 10:30 this morning
do.
here downtown.
Yes.
Let me ask this. The spirit of this, at least my understanding, is to try to make housing more affordable or to try to get more units built, whether it be single home, apartments, duplexes, whatever it might be. Does any of that, I don't want to say make sense, but do you agree with the intent of trying to get more houses on the market?
I think we all agree that Michigan needs more housing. And it's important to understand that each community is not a cookie cutter. Canton and Macomb Township were 36 square miles. Each of our neighborhoods are not cookie cutter. Let me give you, for instance, in the 70s, Canton started to build out a little bit more. And housing was approved by the county and the township at the time to be placed anywhere. Much of that housing, if it were to come before us right now, it wouldn't happen. Some of that housing was placed on floodplains. In August 2023, we declared a state of emergency due to flooding and a tornado in Canton. Many of those houses were flooded extensively. Yards were gone that will never be brought back. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage were done. You can't just put housing anywhere. Infrastructure is the backbone of housing. If these bills drop, this will take us back 50 years in intricacy, local decision-making, and local design of our communities. So we can't design the neighborhood next to each other the same because of where the floodplains are, where the infrastructure is or isn't, let alone my design working with Chris's, working with Frank's. It just won't work.
Okay, so if these 9 bills are not the solution, what is?
So the state, if they want to do something for affordability, and I contend that none of these bills do anything for affordability, not one thing. The state, there are other avenues. They can fund affordable housing. There was a package of bills that was discussed last year, presented by the Michigan Municipal League, that did just that. That communities could choose to opt in, and that would give them access to a fund of money that developers could use to help offset development costs. Those are good ideas. Those are ideas that could help communities. Frankly, our community doesn't need the help right now. We have 1,800 homes in our pipeline that are approved for construction, a whole mix of rental to for sale and everything in between. And we have not, again, I would contend, the biggest thing I think that we're angry about, and we're running around gathering people together, is there's been no discussion. There's been no discussion. It's explaining this to your kid at the kitchen table. It's like, you know, the class project, and you work hard on it and you put hours and hours into it and you come up with a solution, and someone from a different school comes in and tells you how you're going to do things. That's what this feels like.
My understanding, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, from the conversations I've had with other leaders, is that this isn't about a power trip. You're not mad about the fact that power is taken away. You're upset about the fact that decisions are being made that would essentially tie your hands. Now, again, not my words. I'm asking if that is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it is. You know, at the local level, like Chris said earlier, we live and work in the communities that we represent. You can come to our board meetings. You can talk to your local elected officials. You can walk into my office anytime you want if you live in Macomb Township, and we'll discuss the issues. You're going to take these decisions and you're going to shift them somewhere else. You might as well tell everybody that lives in our communities, don't bother coming to your local officials anymore with your complaints or your concerns, because they're no longer in charge. They've taken those decisions and they've moved them to somebody else. The most responsible decision making is always going to be at the most local level possible. We're the ones that live, work, and play in our own communities. We know what our residents want. We know why they moved there. The growth that we have had in Macomb Township has been extraordinary. I think everybody knows that, that's familiar with Macomb Township. But we're doing it in a responsible way. We have a mix of housing in our pipeline that exceeds even Chris's, and it's a mix of duplexes, of condos, of single-family homes, apartment buildings. They're all planned, they're all approved, waiting to go. So all of the things that the state is trying to do, we're already doing, but we're doing it in a responsible way to the people that already live here.
So, Anne Marie, when you look at this list of, in these bills, whether it be the setback rules or parking requirements, is there anything specifically in there that you are against, or is it the whole notion of not being able to regulate your own community?
It's important to look at all the bills and understand that they won't work everywhere. And the important part is to create a partnership with us, work with us. We know our communities. Lansing doesn't understand that. Work with SEMCOG, Michigan Township Associations, MML. That's who we work with. I love working with these guys and listening to them, what they're doing in their communities. I get some ideas, and I tell them stories too. We can do the same with Lansing. They have to work with us because we understand that what they're doing, they're putting infrastructure where we can't put infrastructure. They can create dangerous situations, and we understand that. So those bills can't be dropped as is. They have to be modified to work with us. And maybe at a high level, but in terms of the intricacies of each community, we understand them with our engineers and planners.
Yeah. Just to follow up, we have everyone from small communities in northern Michigan to the mayor of the city of Detroit, the mayor of Lansing, that have signed our petition, that are frustrated with the business as usual, I'll say, in Lansing. And our residents are too. And I think the bottom line for us, we have a document here that we spent 2 years, and we had over 600 individual residents participate in our planning for our community, our master plan. Every community has one of these. This plan in Lansing takes this plan and puts it in the garbage can. And again, with no input, no follow-up, no feedback from locals. You have Republicans and Democrats. This isn't an R or D issue. This is a local issue. And what we're saying is local voices matter. And if the folks in Lansing that are supposed to represent us, and by the way, the job description is in the name of the job, state representative. They are supposed to represent us. If they forget the local voices, I will tell you directly that our voters won't forget their voice this November.
Last question for you. Is there anything in these 9 bills that you agree with?
That we need more housing in Michigan.
Of the bills themselves, these 9 bills should be scrapped.
Okay.
They're terrible.
Agreed. Scrap them right now, start from scratch, and seek local input.
Use our master plans.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's the other side of the argument. We had the state representative on here Friday, so I appreciate your input and your insight so people can understand what it is that's going on. And I know that, as the state representative said, it's going to be a long time before this even gets to more discussion, Lansing. So hopefully there's a better dialogue on both sides of the aisle, or both sides of local versus state there.
We hope so.